sure you're there on the other side. So, welcome back. Here is 4:18 a.m. I know it is what it is. So, I'm having this late night light. So, we're gonna go through the internet figuring out what's going on. So, pretty much just waiting for things to clear it out here in the view. Okay. um, there you go. That's how it is, man. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, bro. It's not gonna be perfect. So anyway, we got things going on here, and right now, I seen a lot of information going on from the Strait of Hormuz. The Hormuz Strait. Hold on, I just got this stuff. It's kind of annoying. There you go, better. I think it's better than ever. So anyway, things are kind of tough and somehow because let me check this. Just testing my audio. If everything's working properly. So I used another one to screw it. Testing my audio. Alright, it works. Perfect. So yeah, I was saying things are kinda difficult right now in the Middle East, but however. So this is so far what I got from the sources out there. President got the Iranians beaten with their military and infrastructure and the military infrastructure. Just that. No leaders, no air force, no navy. They still have their army, but everything was from air. And like I said before, there's no other president that took action just like President Trump. You know, because otherwise we would have been hit so bad here in America, man. They were like this close to start building and launching a intercontinental nuke. That's as far as I see it, and all these would it be called a false flag if President Trump, the president, the greatest president, Trump, wouldn't have been in office. I'm gonna tell you this. I'll be straight up saying this. 1 millimeter saved the entire world. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Yeah, what it is. So yeah, what I do in these late night streams is just share my screen. We're gonna dive to see what's the latest news. And not just that, the Iranians said a message. That message was just like, we're taking over technically, and we don't listen to stupid posts from idiots or something like that. Something like that. There's audio. and we're gonna go through that. You're gonna hear a little bit. Just wanna make sure you are listening to everything. All right. So we're next. Let's see. All right, all right, all right. All right. Let's go home. Here. No, thank you. No thanks. No group. So let's see. What's the latest? Because, bro, I'm being realistic. X is the best platform to talk about politics in this administration, to be honest, man. That's the best you can do. So we're seeing it here. All right. Let's start over with this video.
They didn't have the technological capacity. What we're seeing today.
Uh oh. I just seen something here. Hold on, hold on. All right, all right, all right. There you go. It's a bombshell exposure. RFK Jr. sounds to the alarm. Digital ID plus CBDS. No, CBDCS equals total slavery. Bruh. Bruh. What the fuck? Resist now or be enslaved forever. Video. Yo. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just dropped a truth bomb on the tyrants. Digital ID and digital currency are the tools of your enslavement. Freeze your money, starve your kids, erase your rights. Welcome to hell, bro. I think bro, come on, man. That's his profile, isn't it? Oh man. Sometimes people build open profiles and they pay these stuff, they monetize impersonating others. I don't know. I think that's JFK. Hold on. Let's see this stuff, bro. Because you just kind of like crap, man. You never know, man. You gotta figure it out.
Is what I call turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. The, within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our.
Let me pause there. Okay, look. Isn't it Bill Gates going to Congress to testify this 22nd or 23rd of this month? We're in April 2026. That is crazy, man. In a few days he's gonna go testify because he's involved in the Epstein files. Anyway, so now I am seeing RFK here. It's like this video. I'm pretty sure is like 2022. I don't know, man. Just like it's how it is. He looks way younger than now.
Our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates.
Yeah, man. This is from the previous administration when they were about to launch a new um campaign when Trump started in 2024. 2023, I mean, or way before, but to the 2025 uh last year. So anyway, I I see in here, you know, is exposing it. But wait a minute, don't we have AI? I mean, it's gonna be given to you. Yeah, take it. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, take it. It's yours. No prompt based technology. Yeah, you're not gonna crack it open. What are you gonna do with it? You don't need. You're not a mechanic or technician to do that stuff. Just take it. It's yours. Yeah, play with that stuff, bro. Meanwhile, you're playing. They're scanning everything. Your iris, your even your breathing, everything, bro. Everything. You feel, bro. I work in systems. Um, I seen the late model devices. They're way sophisticated that they're just like blinking, and you cannot even see it. There's blinks and blinks and blinks and blinks constantly, and bro, every time you move your camera like this or like that, and you're seeing the phone, you are shit, man. It's just what it is, man. If I would be if I would be you, I would try to learn a new skill. That skill is gonna give me income and somehow. Eventually, they're gonna try to get the cryptocurrency, but here JFK Jr. was exposing the Democrats. So remember, we have the alphabet ideology and wokeism stuff. So and it's just radicalized, and especially just like too socialist. In America, it's just not like that. Look, man, at this point, let me say something, man. If you go to Dubai, in Dubai, bruh, everything's controlled. There's supposed to be control, right? If you do something wrong, they're gonna get you. So here's the same. Okay, there's laws, there's control, of course. And people say, no, we're free. I will fight the person like who's trying to get in my way, bro. You're acting like an animal. Stop it. You are not one. You're an anxious, rational human being with the most sophisticated brain. Bro, at this point, I'm just saying this. Most people need reality check at this point in life, in society, in the world, and everything that we have seen, and that what we need to see way beyond. People will need a reality check. And I dreamed this. Excuse me. I had a dream where we had. It might sound silly, but we had some officers. There were like some officers, man. We were into an. I don't know. It was just like a patio or something. Like you registering yourself. They give you like a free coffee. No, yeah, just get a coffee. Then you go and get yourself online, bruh. That coffee even help you to get into a state of your brain has to be like cleared out, like good. So you had whether if you're sleepy or not. That will get you into the average way to be active. That's how I can describe it. But they wouldn't be they wouldn't be just making a random questions verbally. Then they will put you into a computer where you're just gonna type answer a few questions also, and then they gonna check your eyes with with a little light, and then they're telling you like just like when you're drunk, and then they do you the test and stuff, and they ask you a few questions just to confirm. They make you walk to a certain thing, bro. Anyway, the thing is just like it lasts for like faster 30 minutes, just like the average 1 hour, 1 hour and a half or 2 hours for the people who couldn't even answer something. And it was like, bro, they they told you in my dream, this is in my dream, and they told you like, hey, if you not pass or anything, it's just like they tag you, bro. They ink you because you had few choices. What do you want? You want to use a patch in your wrist, or you want to have a tattoo, or you want to have a like a those little chips. Because this is one of the reasons I'm saying this, because this is a dream. This is not real, okay? This is a dream. I dreamed this. So, and then there was rumors, people start saying stuff in my dream, and then they're like, "Oh, whoa, there's a bro." People were like mumbling and saying to each other, gossiping, because there was an silent intervention from people outside of this planet. That's how bad it was, bro. That in my dream, people had to be having reality check, that they couldn't even differentiate who was who. So the only thing that they had to do is just like ask you questions about the history of the planet, the country, you know, 2 plus 2, those kind of psychological questions, you know. And bro, I was like sweating, bro. And then when I woke up, I was just like looking at the ceiling, and there was the sunlight. It was like kind of early in the morning, bro. It was just shit, that was so real and vivid. And I'm like, yo. So anyway, they were identifying people who truly amongst humans, that they were low IQ, bro, and they would just put them away. Like, okay, just go here. We didn't hear heard about that people, but that people were assigned to do some other activities. They were fine. They were free. This is your normal life, and they will be assigned some tasks that people with higher IQ that would be taken care of. But they got other people that they never told them that they were the actual external living beings. Let me say it like that, or extraterrestrial. Anyway, fuck it. So these extraterrestrials that were just like having like a holographic or like skin holographic layer, pretending to be somebody, and they actually replicate people because they got the IDs, they got everything, and they were just like they were getting imposters. So those who try to impersonate, they were actually actual extraterrestrials scanning using the same identification and everything, even the image from the people. And when they just go and scan them, they identify them. That was a person. For this happened in the dream, and that was, oh yeah, we got the idea of the guy. Yeah, but we know there's somebody. It's something fishy. because they could identify with some special tool that they could see it, how everybody was stepping forward. And they said, I remember one of the ladies, she was like nursing, like those old school World War II nurses with the little hat. Not like the nurses of nowadays, like they look like they have pajamas. No, the skirt and the pantsuit or something like that. Just like the original traditional nurse. Okay, so she asked into behind a kind of like bullet um glass that has some light LEDs, but they were not LEDs, you. Yo, these LEDs were not LEDs lighting. It was like actual shield, and that's how it was. So, and they could see through the person, and there was not a human. So I had to ask him, "Hey, would you like to have a wrist bandit, or you want to have inked and tattoo, or you want a little chip to be put in yourself?" Bro, guess what they asked? Guess what the guy asked? Well, the alien guy with human suit or whatever, he asked for a little bandit just to put on the wrist. And I say, yeah, they confirm it. Bro, they start separating humans between extraterrestrials. They had no other choice, but they had to use, you know. And that's when I woke up because I had a person in front of me that was not all the time. He was just like kind of acting up. And it's weird because I'm pretty sure it's just kind of my subconscious when I'm sleeping that I remember I put a video about a guy. If you go to my channel or my page for my, you can see a video about the guy I seen from Reddit. He said it was in Florida and he got a snake stopper and the guy was just like sneezing. And when he sneezed, he and his buddy, it was just like looking backwards, and the other guy, he's like switch from here, he shape from here with his slit eye, and yo, a snake skin. That's crazy. Anyway, so that was just crazy. If you go, you're gonna find it, or you can Google it. The guy with a snake stopper. So yeah, man, this video is when the wokeism crap. What's going on? I just kind of gonna go backwards. Mm, let's see what's going on. Mm, people post crap here. Let me tell you. See what she's saying here.
uh, not move on after conflict. And that's what we saw a lot during wokeness. People were targeted for behavior or for making statements that were on PC. And until, pre wokeness, the way you would deal with a situation like that is you would have a debate. James Damore would be at Google and he would say, I think female underrepresentation in science is due to biological attributes and not bias. The way to deal with that is to have a conversation about whether he's correct or not. The way wokeness deals with that is by saying, I can't believe you just said that. I'm going to get you fired from your job. Wokeness was an inability to have any kind of open debate because the very existence of that debate seemed too much like conflict, and conflict had to be suppressed. And this was just so massively toxic for so many institutions since 2020. And the reason why I think it's important to consider whether wokeness is a product of demographic feminization is because if it is, that means wokeness is not over. A lot of people look around, they think, Donald Trump won the election, wokeness is finished, we can all move on, the vibe shift is here. But I think that if wokeness is just female patterns of behavior in institutions where women were not as well represented until recently, then that means it's here to stay and we need to deal with it head on. I think a lot of us would accept that in many cases, fields become more and more feminized, not because women are out competing men within that field, but because women are feminizing that field and making it more and more friendly to feminine preferences and patterns of behavior. Like if you're working at a business that is so HRified that it's like, the HR lady designed every aspect of your day-to-day office experience. She determined who advanced at that company, who got the best promotions and the best assignments, and everything was touchy-feely in a HRified type of way. Obviously, a masculine man is not going to do well in that environment.
Okay. Imagine saying this. This is crazy, bro. I mean, at this point, I'm so glad there's no more woke. You just imagine, bro, this woke ideology. And I thought was just here in America. Still start seeing it everywhere in all the South American countries and Europe. Just crazy. So crazy. Anyway, some people say the woke agenda got Charlie Kirk. May rest in peace. May rest in peace. You know, that's tragically happening. Let's see.
And their fraud racket.
Hey, yo.
A lot of
Nick Shirley, this guy is a master. I'm gonna follow this guy, man. Okay. Exposing California's corrupt Stop Nick Shirley Act. Come on, man. Instead of going after the fraudster, California is now going after the people exposing the fraud. This this bill AB 2624 will criminalize journalists with the misdemeanors, 10,000 fines, imprisonment, and content takedown. Let immigrant-based NGOs funding be confidential. Take away freedom from the press, from journalists. Protect any immigration support services. Information about being public healthcare, legal services, etc. This bill was created by the General's wife, Mia Bonta, to stop fraud from being exposed. Please like and share this video everywhere everywhere by trying to silence and intimidate journalists. They are trying to hide the truth from you, expose all the fraud. That's true, man. I mean, I seen this guy do really fantastic job in Minnesota and now in California. I mean, and he started like I think like a month ago. That's just insane. The fraud in California. We're talking about close to 200 billions.
the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations, and so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out.
Stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it. Here in California, they are trying to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act. The official title of this bill is AB 2024. And today we're going to be confronting the legislators that are trying to pass this bill. And if this bill were to get passed, instead of going after the fraudsters, they're trying to make it criminal to go after the people that are committing this fraud. For instance, it would become criminal to film and reveal info on taxpayer-funded immigration services like healthcare, which would include daycare, hospices. It also covers counseling services, translation services, and immigration legal services. So, for instance, if the Quality Leering Center was inside of California, it would be illegal to expose them. It would make it illegal to film government funded NGOs. And this bill essentially wants to shield the info of immigrant support services from.
Wait a minute. Isn't the NGOs being who? I mean, I'm not gonna, but government buildings are paid by tax contributors. In some instances, the funds could be private or by donations, which is we're oh yeah. By the way, we're seeing it here in the White House with President. They tried to stop him to building the ballroom. Like, come on, man. No, this is a powerful
From the
nation.
public. So your tax dollars, you'd have no idea where it's going because it would then become confidential and you would not be able to see how much money that NGO is getting if it's going towards immigrant services. And what makes this bill super interesting is the lady who created this bill, her name is Mia Bonta. Her husband is the Attorney General of California named Rob Bonta. You cannot make this up. So you have the Attorney General who's supposed to prosecute and go after the fraudsters, and then you have his wife who's trying to pass bills to go after the people exposing the fraud.
Oh, come
Like,
on.
seriously, this is absolutely crazy. And the AG, Rob Bonta, just a few days ago said they were cracking down on the fraud way before.
I'm not gonna go further with this, but we're already seeing what's going on, right? It's gonna take forever with this stuff. It's like that ex-girlfriend or that the girlfriend that she punch you, she slap you, she bump you with her fist, and then at the same time, I love you, bruh. Nobody got time for that, bro. All right, cool for Nick Shirley. He's doing the stuff. Hopefully, exposes under there. Like, no, I'm not doing this, bro. I'm not putting this stuff, bro. It's crazy. They talking here that we're a clone. I've been cloned. I don't know, bro. It's crazy. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, this is awesome, yo. Yeah, President. You see how different he looks? Jeff K. Jr. I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President Trump, bro. I seen this. They're passing a psychedelic treatment in a text chain. Like, it's just like, in few words, I'm gonna say this. They are
Want
passing.
FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally.
They're passing it because most of our veterans they just pew themselves or they hurt themselves. They unleave themselves. They did not want. They're not even amongst us. Few of them or some of them because they have these post traumatic disorders or they seen a lot of combat and stuff or they have you know traumas. So in order to not do anything like that or just keep them calm, this medicine has to be paused. And then they didn't pass it. So this guy brought it up to Joe Rogan, and then they just kind of organized things with RFK Jr. just to propose it here. In the very same time, you know, the president just signed executive order about it. That's a really good thing for our vets, because otherwise, if they cannot imagine being a person will not control your mind. So, pretty much that's how it is.
How this happened. I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that we see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
I want to thank you.
Awesome. Rotate there. Bruh.
Farm boy named Luke Skywalker teams up with a wise old cock-sucking wizard Obi-Wan to rescue a princess from a wheezing, asthmatic Sith cunt Darth Vader, who's choking out his own goddamn officers while hunting a hairy smuggler prick Han Solo and his Wookiee sidekick Chewbacca. They blow up the Empire's massive death ball station twice. Daddy reveals he's Luke's sperm donor in a plot twist shittier than a Rancor's diarrhea. Some green Muppet frog fucker Yoda trains the kid to swing a lightsaber. Ewoks turn the tide like tiny furball badasses, and the whole saga's a clusterfuck of family incest vibes, Force Ghost circle jerks, and Skywalker sperms ruining everything for 7 bloated prequel and sequel shit shows.
Crazy. I was just kind of meditating. All right. Let's see. Bruh.
That was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
The precedent has been set. I can show you Donald Trump's mugshot. The second the communists took power, They had Donald Trump arrested in every jurisdiction in the United States of America. They tried to blow his head off and send him to prison for 90 years. So don't tell me former presidents are untouchable. No, sir. The president of the United States of America cooked the books on his orders of intelligence in order to create a false narrative about the incoming president who was about to be sworn in. He used the Central Intelligence Agency like it was the DNC. He used the FBI like it was the DNC. He used the DNI like it was the DNC, politicking with his office. That is a crime so severe, Barack Obama should never see the light of day again. He deserves a trial, a fair trial, a public trial, because that's what the American people deserve. And then he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his natural life. And not just because I hate him, but because the next time we get a scumbag like that in the Oval Office, he has to look at Barack Obama rotting in Fort Leavenworth and say to himself, well, I guess the CIA probably isn't my political arm, so maybe I should back off of that. This moment, I'm not just saying this for radio purposes, is everything for this country. I do not believe we can hold the United States of America together if these people don't go to prison. Because the American people do not believe in their institutions anymore. That ship has already sailed. And in order to earn back institutional trust, there is only one thing that works. There's not two, there's only one. Accountability.
This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not speculation. This is documented fact. For years, they told us Trump was the threat to democracy, but the real threat was the attempt to remove him. On December 9, 2016, inside the Obama White House, a classified meeting took place. Present were CIA Director John Brennan, DNI James Clapper, FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and several senior officials. Barack Obama was there. And what they discussed.
It's kind of pushing it. And this is what you say, okay, for the American people. Bro, this is crazy, man. Wow, I'm so amazed. So, almost straight. Not so straight. He closed it again. Let's see. Latest on it. Just in.
Fan Omansi. This is Iranian Stepanevi calling you on channel 16. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. We will open it by the order of our leader Imam Khamenei, not by the tweets of some idiots. If you want to pass through the strait, you must ask permission from Iranian Stepanevi. All vessels that have a connection with our enemies will be targeted if they try to pass the Strait of Hormuz out. In Persian Gulf and Oman Sea, this is Iranian Stepanevi calling you on channel.
That is crazy, man. I wouldn't. Bro, Trump he has to wipe them out, bro. Cause they're like playing back and forth, bro. They're like, yo, no, they're cooked, bro. They're gonna, you know, the president said, I could destroy their infrastructure. It can take us 10 minutes to get it done, for sure, for sure. I don't know. I mean, I just imagine myself just like how it would say. We can obliterate it. Okay. And so it would just be like that, no lights. You gotta shut them down. Shut no lights on, and it will take him over 100 years to recover. unfortunately, there's people he cannot do that, and it's hard because he's just a person who has a different mentality. He wants to build. He wants to construct stuff. He don't want to destroy. You know, that's how I see him. That he is. But these guys are trolling, and unfortunately, if they keep persisting with that, their infrastructure is gonna go to. And it's not okay for the people. I mean, it's what it is. They had there's two ships. They had to be turning back and like go home. Technically, yo, see, wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. Yo, he said deal terminated, bro. He's gonna, bro, bro. See, Bears are winning. Yo, that is insane. These guys are cooked, bro. They are cooked AF. Shit. All right, now let's see Alex Collier because I really wanted to see what he says here.
Mars and Earth were almost identical.
I'm not trolling, but if I fall asleep, just excuse me because I fell asleep in some other videos too before in the past. Now we're seeing a little bit of what's going on with that Mr. Collier in the videos where he explains stuff.
70 million years ago. But Mars went through a huge 9 million years ago, and even went through another war 1,000,000 years ago. The ruins on Mars and all that, some of them are 65, 70, 80, 100 million years old. The face and all that is at least 1,000,000 years old. Now, according to the Andromedans, the face belongs to a group of Orions. That complex was built by Orions. The pyramids were built by Orions. Now, I understand that there's all kinds of coding and geometrics that go with the pyramids, but according to the Andromedans, and this is something they've done in the past, and many other races do, when they find
tell you that the Alpha Draconians are here now. Where
Mars and Earth were almost identical 70 million years ago. But Mars went through a huge catastrophe 69 million years ago, and even went through another war 1,000,000 years ago. The ruins on Mars and all that, some of them are 65, 70, 80, 100 million years old. The face and all that is at least 1,000,000 years old. Now, according to the Andromedans, the face belongs to a group of Orions. That complex was built by Orions. The pyramids were built by Orions. Now, I understand that there's all kinds of coding and geometrics that go with the pyramids, but according to the Andromedans, and this is something they've done in the past, and many other races do, when they find a planet that they want to inhabit or colonize, And its wobble is so irregular that they can't build anything on it because they don't know 1,000 years to the next whether or not it's going to be destroyed. What they will do to balance the rotation, the orbit of the planet, is put weights on it, like we do with our car tire. These weights are the pyramids. They put them at strategic locations to balance the rotation. This is why the Great Pyramid of Giza is located exactly dead center of all the mass, Earth mass on the planet. It's a weight. That's what it was originally designed to be, was a weight to balance our rotation. So they would have some semblance of order here, that they wouldn't have to worry about it flipping around and orbiting and pole shifting whenever it wanted to, or wobbling so much like this, that the oceans would just change. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Pyramids on Earth are located in the same part of the hemisphere as the pyramids on Mars?
Yes. Yes, it is. But there are more pyramids on the Earth than there are on Mars. There are a lot in the ocean. Central America.
Right.
We have a lot. Of course, it's, almost 1.5 times the landmass as well. Plus, we have water, which in itself is an incredible amount of weight. I think we have 1.2 trillion square miles of water on the planet, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's 2/3 of the Earth, and less than 1% is drinkable. Another question. Somebody else? Yes, sir.
Can you give us some of your background and how you came into all this information, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes. I guess it's time for that. My contact started when I was 8 years old. I was on a family picnic in Woodstock, Michigan, which is in the upper northern peninsula. I did not remember
tell you that the Alpha Draconians are here now. Where?
There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
They can never say eat humans?
Yes. And they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children. And we've been told you shouldn't talk about that. Other people say, well, you better not talk about the reptilians. Well, why not? According to the Andromedans, they're responsible for 31,712 children disappearing in the last 25 years from the United States. These children were food. And I'm supposed to just shut up and not say anything about it because people don't want to hear it? That's tough. That's tough. Westchester County, in the last 5 years, 3,000 children in Westchester County, New York, have vanished without a trace. Where are they going? Why are we allowing this to happen? And why should people stay in denial about it?
Now, how are they able to do this? How are they able to do it? How are they able to come up out of this from underground and do it? Or do they have...
There are tunneling systems everywhere. They're being helped by the Greys, and also there are groups within the higher echelon that are actually helping them acquire this.
So human beings are abducting the kids and getting them to the Greys who in turn give them to the Alpha Draconians?
That's right. That's part of the deal. They won't come up as long as we feed them down there. You understand? It's about human beings selling themselves out. The echelon attitude here, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of humanity. And sorry, that just isn't right. But it's going to have to be humanity that's going to rise up and take the stand. You're just going to have to turn off your televisions. They're going to have to get in their car. They're going to have to fire everybody in Washington, D.C. that knows and does nothing. And they're going to have to do something. This apathy's got to end. Otherwise, the way we live is going to end. Period. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I'm not calling.
That sounds to me like 2024. Socialism, communism. Everybody conform with your portion of bugs, your dildo, and your pillow.
From a fear space. I'm really quite angry about the apathy and the fact that, when people give lectures and try to tell us, people want to stand up and fight with them. Look at what's happening around us. The indications are everywhere. Everywhere. The truth is now an obscure thing. The lie is the norm. There's something wrong here. What's wrong with this picture?
Tell you that the Alpha Draconans are here now.
Apparently we were all copper-based. All of our physiology was based on copper. We were all blue bloods. Okay? We were all royalty. In fact, we still are. It's just that our physiology is not working the same. And the reason it isn't is apparently because of a nuclear war that occurred here. One of the nuclear wars that occurred here. Now, why Earth? Well, number one, it's a really beautiful place. Okay? It's not the only planet that has water. And when you listen to the scientists talking about the different moons that have water on them, you got to ask yourself this: where did the water come from? If you have a moon that has no atmosphere, how did the water get there? Because it wasn't always there. It wasn't always like that. It had atmosphere. They were moved. Even Earth was moved from its rotation twice. And there's a possibility, if it's able to happen, I talked with Jay-Z, that they want to do it again. The flood of Noah, okay, was a moving of the planet from its original orbit. That's what caused it. Okay, we're talking about huge motherships that just hook a little chain to the planet and just move it. Okay, they have this technology, but that's what it is. It's technology. Okay, apparently we can do these things with our own minds if we're disciplined enough and we're clearly focused on our intent. And with talking with Jay-Z, that is exactly what Ramtha apparently has been teaching you. Okay, to remember who we originally were before we fell into time and fell into physicality. So I will read this. In your linear time of third density measurement of 439,231 rotations ago, war on a grave scale occurred in your solar system. This aggression occurred against those on your worlds that included not only you Terrans, but also those of Nibiru. This invasion of your system by Orion was led by a queen named Suti. This war was destructive on many levels and frequencies of physicality. We will focus tonight on your Terran physical form. It matters little to those who hear you, Alex, who do not listen. Please share this regardless of any emotional return to you in challenge. When your science truly removes their bigotry, they will discover of the wisdom of it. The last grave conflict was very harmful to your physical form. Many weapons of destruction, many of atom splitting have been used, which means nuclear weapons. This is the reason for most of your Terran skin tones. We shall explain. Orion was and is most interested in the females of your race because of the procreation, reproductive, and genetic strengths. We want to share the fact that much of your Terran history has been misleading in its truth by those who eventually conquered in control of your solar system. Nibiru won, but only a short battle, before they and other outposts were forced to leave your solar system because of genetic damage. Your original races were green-skinned. This we know because of large copper traces in your Terran 22 blood types. Also, the pituitary and thyroid were fully functional. The genetic damage to these organs was caused by radioactivity in air and all things of contact. The air was like this for a long time. It caused the genetic memory of these organs to be closed and almost atrophied. Your world experienced drastic changes in climate and massive magnetic fluctuations. Your different skin tones, spraces, are a result of an edema damage to your blood. It was then necessary for survival to create self-sufficient and contained environmental habitats, both above and below the earth. Now, folks, this is what the Garden of Eden was. It was an artificially created environmental habitat. Okay, it's like like what Richard Hoagland's been talking about. You know, you take a domed city, you build this dome, and then you terraform it underneath it. It's exactly what these were. Let's see, where was I? Much of the fossilization of your Terran remnants is caused by this radiation of your planet. Your system contained 3 suns at the time. Only 2 remain. I'll read that again. Your system contained 3 suns at the time. Only 2 remain. Write it down. Write it down. It's a question. Your physicality, your physicality in its original form contained a great
My apologies for that, but this is a cool live. Hopefully you guys get to check this video. Alright, peace. Peace out, guys.